What is up, everybody? ZLD here. Welcome back to another Dilly-Daily, number 7? I'm not even going to say what number, because I could be wrong. Real quick, fit check. Elon Musk, I just got my Teddy Fresh. Elon Musk is a piece of shit shirt. Loving it. It's a little long on me, like really long on me, though. I'm long, but I'm not that long, you know? We'll figure it out, though. So... it's also ironic because I drive a Tesla, which is kind of why I bought it. But anyway, welcome to another Dilly-Daily. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's get right into it. We are not in danger today of missing the reset timer, as a heads up. That's the first time we did that. I don't really do that much where I miss the timer. But yeah, so today I wanted to talk about a couple things that I kind of touched on yesterday. I guess I just dropped these. I should have done that before I recorded. That's fine. So yesterday we talked about like Twitch and YouTube again. I know I talk a lot about it, but I know a lot about them, and you know it's relevant because I'm uploading to the platforms. Or I don't really stream so much anymore, but I still watch a lot of Twitch. So I was actually watching like I mentioned yesterday, the only podcast I really watch is the H3 podcast. It's the only one I really stuck with. I mean, at times I have myself like, I think, am I really enjoying this as much anymore, or am I just like sunken costs? Like, I've been here for so many years, I'm just still watching. There are times like where I have that, but overall I do enjoy it. And I was watching one of their latest episodes, and I figured I want to talk about that. So the episode, basically, you guys remember way long ago, this is a throwback, I mean, I think most people know this, but Rebecca Black's Friday song, you guys remember that? You guys remember how much the whole internet, collectively, the whole internet decided it was like the worst song ever made, and like relentlessly and fervishly and like just terribly like ragged on this poor 13-year-old girl for years, right? You guys remember that? I don't think a lot of people remember like that. It was kind of I wouldn't say it was cool, but a lot of people did a lot. It was like the thing to do. Like everybody saw that video. Like everybody watched that video, right? It was so viral and so popular, and most people outwardly would shit on it. And I don't think a lot of people really thought that there was you're talking about like a young 13-year-old girl. Oh, wait, what just happened? Do you still want to receive? What just happened? Arcane symbol buff? Sorry, that was new. Whatever just happened, I don't... That's new, because I guess I maxed out my vanishing journey. I don't know what happens with that. Okay, whatever. So back to the whole topic I was talking about. Sorry, I probably should have read that. I probably should have thought to read that, but I wasn't thinking. But yeah, so you guys remember Rebecca Black, and yeah, like how terrible the internet treated her. Well, she's now like 25 years old, and she was on the H3 podcast, and yeah, like I don't think most people like. That was one of the craziest times in the internet, because just again collectively everybody on the internet decided it was okay to outwardly make fun of this girl and this song, not thinking that was like an actual little girl and like she has feelings and stuff, right? Well, I mean, I think this would fuck anybody up, but that shit fucked up Rebecca Black really bad. Like as a person, like as a young kid, for many reasons, getting that level of virality, is that the right word? Getting that viral of a video, getting that much exposure online, whether there was positive or negative comments with it, that would mess up a lot of people, right? Just the idea of that many people, like comprehending that many people viewing anything you put out is pretty wild. But also, the worst part of it is how much, again, people just destroyed that song, and like how much people like really made her life a living hell. And to her detriment, she was, reading a lot of the comments and stuff at the time, so it just really messed her up. And I had to think back. I was like, that is such an interesting and unique thing to think about, because I don't think back then people were like thinking about what they're saying is like probably going to reach this little girl. I mean, the whole internet collectively had an opinion about it, and it was not a good one, and everybody just kind of seemed okay with that. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong about this, because I lived that time. I personally, I never was like, damn, I hate this girl. I was like, I actually thought the song was pretty catchy. But it was the cool thing to be like, damn, isn't that funny that this song exists? And I was never really like, I never really had a strong opinion of like, oh, I hate this song, I hate this girl. And I'm not saying that just to say it. I'm not like, I genuinely didn't have a strong opinion about it, and I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really put out a lot of hate into the world, so. But yeah, so listening to the podcast was really interesting because she is still around, and she's actually making music still. And I can't imagine going through something like that, where you made a song and the whole world was like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck your song. We all hate you. The whole world. Collectively, hundreds of millions of people basically said that. I don't know that I couldn't continue to do that medium afterwards, so I give her so much credit for like sticking with it. It truly is her passion, but I wanted to talk about how, like, when it comes to viewing content and like making content, a lot of people don't think about, you have to be able to, there's a couple things you need to do to keep yourself like in check. And this, I'm speaking like I have experience in this, but I don't have experience in this. This is just, I don't get a lot of views on my stuff. Not that I care to get views. It's just like stuff you hear from the bigger people that is relevant, and that I think would have helped if somebody would have known back then to help Rebecca Black. And just in general, it's good stuff to hear if you're, as I know so much about Twitch, I'm trying to learn about YouTube, as I mentioned. It's stuff that's good to hear. And relevant for the platforms. So a couple things as a viewer of content, and something that's like pretty interesting that I don't think a lot of people know about me and myself. I don't really interact with like much content online. And what I mean by that is when I watch a YouTube video, unless it's like somebody I personally know, I don't ever leave a comment. I don't ever upvote it or downvote it. Same is said for when I was on Reddit. When I was browsing Reddit a lot, I would almost never interact with like posts. I would scroll and I would subscribe to subreddits, but I would never like comment. I mean very, very seldomly, maybe like a total of 10 comments on my account in the years I've had my account. And why that's relevant is because there is a really good, really delicate and important balance, I think, that a lot of more people could benefit from practicing between when you consume content, right? When you are a consumer of Reddit, for example, there's a like like just Reddit existing is like such a freaking like insane thing to comprehend. Like the level of the amount of content that goes through that platform, and the amount of information that's just available and that you could just browse, and like, so you could see the most 20 years ago, like if you were browsing Reddit, the front page of Reddit today, you can see a headline that 20 years ago would have been unimaginable. It would have made the news on like every single news station. You could just see that as like a post on like a you'll just scroll past and you won't even like have a reaction to it now on Reddit. So it's just unimaginable to like think of. It's really crazy to think of like what Reddit is. But anyway, I kind of got lost in the sauce there. Yeah, so I on like every single platform except for like even on like Instagram, I like almost never interact with posts. I don't like them. I don't comment on them. Very, very seldomly. And I think that a lot of people could benefit from doing less interaction on posts. For a number of reasons, and here's why. So, let me start with saying, when you interact with posts, It's feeding the algorithm, and I never really said I had an opinion on, like, I've talked about the algorithm on TikTok and YouTube and stuff. I never really had an opinion on it, but in general, it's a bad thing. Like to have an algorithm know you, or like, you know, think it knows you, because then it's really to make it a succinct point. Like the algorithm is going to show you what it shows you, and if you're you know addicted to the platforms, which most people these days are addicted to social media, you're going to consume you're going to look at what it shows you, and you are going to be influenced by it a little bit in some way, and it's not necessarily everything you're super interested in. And I hope I'm expressing, like, I hope you get an idea of what I'm trying to say here. Like the shade course, having an algorithm, and not like Facebook was in the old days, where it's just like, what's the word, content being shown as it was like uploaded, like the latest post was the most recent thing you saw. When an algorithm is controlling it, when a computer program or a line of code is determining what you're seeing and building a profile off of what it thinks you like, it's just not good to have that happen. And I'm not really gonna get too much into it, because I could talk a lot about it. It's gonna influence you, and like it's gonna show you things that are, you know, not necessarily things you may like, or things that, I don't know. It's very complex, but ultimately that's my point on the algorithm. So, did I lose my thought path here? I hope. I'm trying to think now. I got really lost in the sauce here, man. I got too deep in the point of the algorithm. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah. So basically, that's why the first point is when you. I think a lot of people could stand it to interact with posts and comment and stuff less, because one, feeding the algorithm is not a good thing ultimately. Like, but also just using social media is not a good thing to begin with. So the point can go either way, but when it comes to like practicing, we'll say abstinence from commenting and stuff, people, like, you can really just start becoming further and further detached from understanding that there's an actual person behind the content if you're like posting negative things. And what? Oh, I'm done the quest. Holy shit, that was quick. Okay. And like, especially on YouTube, I think that is the case mostly on like YouTube and TikTok. A lot of people become detached with understanding that the video you're watching, like, that's an actual person who uploaded it in most cases. I don't want this. And the things you say can be damaging. Going back to talking about Rebecca Black, I think that from the consumer standpoint of like consuming a social media, you definitely got to practice just like knowing that like those are people, and like you don't always need to make a comment. You don't always have to comment. You don't always have to have a comment, because more often than not, in general on the internet, most comments are negative. Like the overwhelming majority, okay, maybe not the overwhelming majority. I think I might be speaking out of my ass a little bit there. And I just think in general, if people practiced more like, maybe I don't need to comment here. What does my comment really add? It's good for interaction and keeping people addicted to the platform, which is another point. But it's not necessarily good for them or good for the uploader to be reading that. And that's the point where it goes back to how I said, if from like the bigger content creators, they always say you should just never read the comments on your like videos, because you could read a million positive comments as an uploader, as a content creator, any kind of media you're creating, you Instagram posts, TikTok. And the same was said for me too when I was uploading on TikTok, and I got like a good amount of views, a good amount for me, like 1,000 views on a video. You could read 100 positive comments, and then if you read one negative comment, that's all you're gonna remember. You're only gonna remember the negative comment and how it made you feel, and it's gonna stick with you, and it just ruins you. And most people, that's the case for most people. Like I mean, as sad as it is to like know that your bigger content creators aren't going to read your comment, most of them shouldn't, and most of them won't, because it's a net negative to read them, because most of the comments, or maybe not even most of them, the ones that are going to stick with them are the negative ones, and it's going to be just bad for them. So I think as easy as it is for me to say, like, oh yeah, somebody as somebody who had such a viral video as Rebecca Black shouldn't have read the comments. that's easy to say, and that's, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to know if you're making content. You know, if you get like a really viral video, you probably shouldn't read the comments because it's gonna mess you up, and that's just how it is, unfortunately. But you know, there are people who don't necessarily think about that stuff, and I think, not that I'm like smarter than you know, the average person, but it's just stuff that I think about, and I think that I like to talk about those things, so I want to talk about it. So I'm like really congested today for some reason. So yeah, it's just that's a couple more points about why I think a lot of people, most people, should practice a little bit of abstinence from commenting and interacting as much. Is the more you interact and the more you comment on anything, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the more it's going to kind of, you're going to kind of feel good when other people interact with your comment, or other people, you're talking to other people and like you're agreeing, you form an echo chamber, very dangerous thing in a lot of spaces on the internet. And it's gonna feed that addiction of you wanting to stick on the platform and like do more interactions and etc. And it's just, ultimately, I cannot express it enough, and it's very ironic because here I am uploading content to the internet. All social media platforms are so bad for you. They're just so bad. Like you should just stop. You should have stopped yesterday. You should stop today. And you should stop tomorrow and forever. And I say that, and I'm no better than anybody else. I still consume, you know, I will say, to my credit, I recognized how addicted I was to Reddit when I was working from home, and how much it was like making me, like how badly it was affecting my mental health, like really just terribly. Like every night, if I would browse and see like one triggering post, like one, you know, for me, my trigger is like climate change. If I would see one thing related to like, oh, how things aren't going great with climate change, I would just go into like an actual spiral. Like my mental health would be so bad. And I realized like, it's just, I'm not really gaining much from browsing Reddit. So I cold turkey just cut it out of my life. And I haven't been on Reddit for like maybe 8 months now, maybe longer. I don't even open it. I don't browse it. I don't use it. And that's like the only social media platform I went cold turkey with. Actually, no, I did the same thing with TikTok. And also, to my credit too, I have a Twitter account. I never used it. I think I made like 3 tweets ever. And I made it when like Twitter first came out. I just never got into it. And I know Twitter for some people is like the Reddit that the experience I have with Reddit. I know some people have that experience with Twitter. They just doom scroll. They just see negative stuff all day. Actually, I think it's, if not worse, I think it's a little more worse because it's just comments, right? For the most part. So I never got into Twitter. I just wasn't. Maybe that was when I was like, I wasn't older. I don't know. I think I was like 18, 19 when it came out. So I wasn't like too old for it, right? But yeah. So I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but like I very much recognize the dangers of social media and how I've had to eliminate my exposure to it. And if you're struggling and you want to do what I did and cut things out cold turkey, the easiest way to do it is just remove the apps if you're on your phone, because for me it's most of the time I was on my phone, and then just, if you're like on a computer, just try and somehow eliminate your access to it. That's the first thing. But also, if you are going to do anything cold turkey, like cutting social media out, know that you just have to go in with the knowledge that you're most likely going to try and replace it with something else. Like subconsciously, you're going to look to consume something else in place of the time you would spend on the social media. And you just have to give yourself some grace with that. You have to allow yourself to do it a little bit at first. Just try not to do it with something worse. I think that's what happens with drugs. That, you know, if you wean yourself off of one hard drug, you just go on to another, or you try and do another drug or something. But it is very much true, and I've done it with myself a couple times now. With a couple, like I did it at first with Facebook. And you just go to a different platform. And like I said, just allow yourself some grace. Allow yourself to do it for a little bit, as long as you're off the first one, and then just kind of work on drawing yourself back from the other one. And just try, I mean, you can make any hobby unhealthy if you do it enough, you know? And I would say try and replace it with healthy hobbies, but like I said, if you do anything enough, it's, not going to be good for you. We may actually be done here, and I kind of just got lost in the sauce talking today. I was really enjoying... I really enjoyed today's and yesterday's episodes. The Dilly-Dailies have been on point, in my opinion. Oh, I didn't do this, though. Let's see. We're done. I think we're done. Yep. I do gotta claim these, though, before next week, as a reminder to myself. But I think, yeah, I'm gonna cut it here. I thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, have a good one. See you later. See you tomorrow. What is up, everybody? Ooh, I hate that. I hate doing the YouTube thing sometimes.